Good day everyone, my name is Aldrin Avenido. Today, I'm going to tackle about the L105 language learning materials development and discuss the summary of the topic from prelim, midterm, semifinal, and final. So since I will just discuss the summary, I will not elaborate more the topic itself. Instead, I will just discuss the important idea in the topic. So, let's get started. Now, let's discuss first the prelim summary, which title is Unit 1 Introduction to Materials Development. Lesson 1 Essence of Instructional Materials. Instructional materials, as many would claim, serve as the heart of active engagement of students in learning. Instructional materials also refers to those alternative channels of communication which a classroom teacher can use to concretize a design or produce an instructional materials are their advantage and disadvantage, characteristics, limitation, etc. The essence of producing instructional materials is to facilitate the teaching-learning process. Teaching aids are objects such as books, pictures or map, or devices such as DVDs or computers used by a teacher to enhance or enliven classroom instruction. So now let's move on to Lesson 2. The Lesson 2 is all about the development of instructional materials. So, authenticity and purposiveness of instructional materials for language learning are essential elements before they can be meaningfully utilized in class. They are essential elements and potent guides in designing and developing these materials. Moreover, teaching experience in language teaching as well as their understanding of the students' knowledge, skills, and behavior are the key factors towards motivating the students to learn the target language. So below are some of the suggestions that may help you as a future educator in developing instructional materials for language learning. So first, know your students well. Second, understand the learning outcomes. Third, think smart and practical. Fourth, adopt a well-proven, effective instructional materials. And lastly, number 5, create contextualized materials. So now, let's move on to Lesson 3. So Lesson 3, Materials Evaluation. So the development and the utilization of instructional materials for language learning need to be relevant and well-focused. In doing so, these materials need to be assessed and evaluated anchored or certain principles for material development. So the following inputs embody the value of evaluating instructional materials. Mindful of the role in language in their form and substance should be likewise to be given due attention. Material development is the activity which measures the value of a set of learning materials by making judgment about the effect of the materials on the people using them, including its measures and appeal to the learners. Materials validity or flexibility, materials ability to interest the learners, materials potential learning value, delivery and assessment. Now, let's go on to the lesson 4, and it is all about the instructional materials. So, instructional materials, education in the 21st century is highlighted by the judicious use of technology in teaching and learning. In the area of language learning, where students are expected to demonstrate effective communication, the use of learning resources including ICT shall be made relevant and sustainable. So relevance in education is actualized when activities cater to the learning needs of the student, where majority of whom are technology savvy. The following may hopefully guide you when you adopt an instructional material. So These are the following. So, number 1, choose a renowned and credible author. Number 2, ask permission from the author of the chosen instructional materials or simply acknowledge him or her in the adopted material. Number 3, modify certain ideas to suit to your purposes and context. Number 4, validate the materials by expert of the field. So here are some guidelines in the selection of instructional materials. So the following are the guidelines in the selection of instructional materials or educational media. Number 1, size. Number 2, color. Number 3, durability. Number 4, economy. Number 5, easy to handle. Number 6, relevance. And number 7, novelty. Now, I'll discuss the summary of the midterm topic. So, the midterm topic is all about the development of teaching learning materials. So, let's define first what is teaching learning materials. So, teaching learning materials or TLMs are the tools that are used by the teachers and instructors within schools to facilitate learning, understanding of concept among students. So, these are the educational materials that are used within the classroom setting to support the learning objectives as set out within the lesson plans. So, there's also significance of teaching learning materials. So, the major significance of teaching learning materials is to recognize within the classroom environment by providing support and assistance to the educator. So, with the presentation and transformation of educational content and the achievement of educational objectives. Objectives of teaching learning materials. So the primary objectives of teaching learning materials is to motivate students towards the acquisition of education. So these are the primary use by teachers to provide assistance and support to the learners to achieve academic outcomes. So there are also types of teaching learning materials. So these are the audios and video TLMs, textbooks, maps. So maps are classified into physical maps, political maps, economical maps, social maps, and historical maps. So now let's move on to charts. So charts are also classified into process chart, organizational chart, time chart, tabular chart, stream chart, and sequence chart. So next is the posters. Next is models, overhead projectors, PowerPoint slides, computers, and other reading materials such as articles, documents, reports, assignments, projects, newspapers, magazines, and books. So, in designing and developing of teaching and learning materials, there are three major aspects that needs to be taken into account. So, these are the collection, preparation, and maintenance. Now, I will discuss the summary of the semi-final topic. So, the semi-final topic is all about the material for the teaching of vocabulary, grammar, and writing. So, vocabulary. So, what is vocabulary? So, vocabulary is the body of the words used in particular language. So, it can be oral or written. It can also be expressive. So, expressive is the conveying thoughts to others. So, and next is the receptives. So, talking in words and understanding them. So, to enhance your vocabulary, here are some common strategies that you may use. Read aloud, shared reading, guided reading, independent reading, interactive writing, independent writing, and words wall. Now, let's move on to grammar. So, what is grammar? So, grammar is the whole system and structure of a language and usually taking as consisting of syntax and morphology, and sometimes also phonology and semantics. So here are some associated with grammar. Reading. Reading, it enables learning to comprehend sentence relationship in a paragraph, passage, or text. Next is speaking and listening. It helps to grasp the express spoken language. Next is writing. It allows the learners to put their ideas into intelligible sentence so they can successfully communicate in a written form. And next is the vocabulary. It gives a pathway to learners how to combine some lexical items so they can form meaningful utterance. Writing. The roles of materials in writing instruction are models, language scaffolding, reference, and stimulus. Writing also have its purpose. The purpose of writing, as a learning tools, writing exercise are valuable because they help students think critically about course material while encouraging them to grasp, organize, and integrate prior knowledge with new concepts. Furthermore, good communication skills are valuable assets both in and out of the classroom. When instructor provides students with opportunities to organize ideas and improve their abilities to articulate those ideas, they contribute to the both an education and professional development of their students. Here's the reason why we write. Writing to encourage active learning and thinking, writing to explore, and writing to explain. Now, let's discuss about the summary of the final topic. The final topic is all about the technology-based learning or education. What is technology-based learning education or TBL? Technology-based education is the integration of instructional technology into the learning environment of schools. It refers to the educational setting that applies advanced technologies such as computers and the internet in the process of teaching and learning. There are also benefits and challenges of technology-based learning or education. The benefits of it is accessibility, offering anytime or anywhere delivery. Next is training that is self-paced and matched to the learner's needs. And next is full scalability. Next is time updated. And next is streamlined and effective learning delivery. There are also challenges in technology-based learning education. These are the challenges of it. The digital divide caused by low computer literacy rates and lack of access to technology among some learners' population. Social loafing, which occurs when learners reduce their efforts in TBL programs or are frustrated in their attempt to use TBL because of their program's lesser focus on personal interaction. Higher attrition rates. Next is accommodating individuals with disability. Next is technology incompatibility. Next is high developmental costs. And lastly is its lack of credibility. There are also 8 ways to embrace technology-based learning approaches. And these are number 1, problem-based learning. 2, student-created content. Number 3, collaborative learning. Number 4, competency-based education. Number 5, active learning. Number 6, blended learning. Number 7, flipped learning. And number 8, integrated subject. Now, let's move on. The methodology and tools of technological-based learning or education. Here are some methodologies and tools of technological-based learning or education. Tutorials, web conference, online forums, electronic mailing lists, wikis, and virtual collaborative workspaces, blogs or weblogs, simulation, goal-based scenarios, gaming, learning management system or LMS, integrated learning system or ILS, synchronous, asynchronous, instructor-centric mode, content-centric, and learner-centric. So that's the end of the presentation. So that's all. Thank you.